back on the team. Rory, number 9. Kyle is number 1. Let's start off with Mark, though, however, the defensive coordinator. And I imagine you couldn't be prouder of the effort that these guys turned in Saturday night.
No, not at all. I mean, it was obviously a long time coming for us. We had a lot of close games, a lot of, tough decisions down at the end. Things didn't always go our way. And this one came down to the end also, but, this time it went our way, so it was big for us.
Coach, I was really impressed, and that's why I wanted the defense to come out first today. In that first half, Mount Carmel must have had the ball at least 3 times in your territory. Once, I think they started driving the 20-yard line and didn't come away with any points in the first half. I mean, that's just amazing. What happened that you guys were able to stop them from scoring with all those opportunities they had?
Well, yeah, you're right. We were in some tough situations, but, we prepared well all week. Our prep offense did an outstanding job getting us ready. And our kids on the team, they work so hard. Our assistant coaches, I'd have to mention, that work under me, Larry Lokank and John Purgie. The experience they have, it's incredible. I come out here and, game time is fun for me. I just get to call the plays. It's like driving a car. They're the mechanics, and I just get to come out and have fun. So.
Well, we're looking at highlights right now, and if you think you're seeing number 9 in just about all of them, he had 23 tackles, Rory did in this game, and we're all over the place. He's one of our nominees for Friday Night Fever Player of the Week. We'll tell you how you can vote for that in a little bit. But what were you keying on here, Rory? Did you expect them to just try to run it down your throats, or what were you thinking going in?
Well, going into the game, we really did think that they were going to try to test our running defense, and they tested it well, and the coaches really helped us out for the week of practice. They gave us what we had to do, so it was really just getting in the right spot on just reading keys, and coaches really did a great job, so we just did what we're supposed to do.
And what's the difference, Rory? In past years, you guys hadn't beaten Mount Carmel 5 times in a row, and I'm assuming you prepare the same way. They have the option attack. The personnel even is similar from year to year. What was different this year that you guys were able to stop that option attack?
I think it was more of it's in the heart. I think that was really a big key, Guys really wanted it, As seniors, this came back from, Pop Warner football, so...
It goes back a long way, doesn't it?
It goes back a long way, so I really wanted it, and I know everyone else really wanted it. We wanted to do it for the coaches because who knows, next year we might not even be playing Mount Carmel, so we really wanted, showed for the coaches and really just get the job done. So it was just more of a heart thing.
People may remember the Steinbach name with Eric, your older brother, who was on some pretty decent teams himself and is now at Iowa. Did he ever beat Mount Carmel? Did he ever get a chance to play them?
He never got a chance to play him, and that was always like a dinner discussion. He always wants to play Mount Carmel, but I'm glad I got to play Mount Carmel for him, so maybe he was really satisfied with his little brother beating Mount Carmel.
When did he hear about you guys knocking off Mount Carmel? When did he first hear about it?
I guess that night my parents said they called him on his cell phone and told him, So I guess it was after the game, probably around 11.
What was his reaction?
My parents said he was really enthusiastic about it. He was just tell Rory he did a great job and stuff like that. So he really was just supportive about it.
Didn't carry over to the Purdue game, however.
Yeah.
Kyle, talk about the game itself in those final frantic seconds. Mount Carmel was lining up for a field goal, a chance to tie 10-7. Was the final score that you beat Mount Carmel in a real low-scoring defensive kind of game. But they had a chance there at the end of the game to at least force overtime. It's just a little bit wide was the field goal at the end. Were you on the field for that final field goal play?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
We always have close games with Carmel, so I expected a close game. I was a little nervous at the end. Got at the 1-foot line. But
here's the big play where...
Well, here's just highlights of the game. These are highlights of the game.
At the end of the game, Kyle, I was walking on the Mount Carmel sideline, keeping track of the end of the game, and I could hear as they were marching down the field, their fans, the coaches, everybody was saying, we're going to do it again, because they had so much confidence that they'd come back and beat you guys, and they just thought for sure they were going to do it. They got down to the 2-yard line, 17 seconds left in the game, and here's the play where the quarterback, John Mulcrone, couldn't find an open receiver. You made an 11-yard sack and forced this longer field goal about 30 yards out, and they missed. What happened on that play where you would after Mulcrone?
Basically, we were in man-to-man coverage, and I was guard number 11, I believe. And
Chris Goffer.
Yeah.
Goffer, right?
He came back, set a block on one of my teammates who got laid out and freed me up to make the play.
Okay.
So he got sacked with 1 second left, enough time for the kick? Is that what happened with that?
I don't know
We
about
had some
that.
questions about
I was
that.
gonna- You couldn't let him run around for
That
another
time.
second. It would have been over, huh?
There were some
Friendly
questions.
clock.
Well, that's
Well, it might be.
Want to do Sacco selections real quick right now? Do you want to go through those? All right, let's take us through those before we got to get a break, and
Okay.
we'll keep these guys up here for another segment too. You didn't do too well last week, my friend.
last week a tough week, and these guys are one of the reasons why. I picked Carmel to win that game.
Not a good. Usually your regular season you get rolling. Playoffs you struggle. This might be a bad omen for we go through the week after knocking off number one, huh?
That's a no-brainer, Rob. A great win for Matt, maybe one of the greatest wins in his career. He's won a number of state titles, so it's something to win a state title, but he's won a bunch of them already, 5 or 6 state titles, but he's never beaten Mount Carmel, so this was the first time he's ever done that.
And our athlete of the week, really, we've got a couple of the guys up here. We'll have a few more, but the entire Providence defense you're going with.
I think I was so impressed with the way they played, particularly in that first half when they didn't let Mount Carmel score. Had Mount Carmel scored 2 or 3 times in the first half, it's a different ballgame, so the defense really deserves all the credit this week.
All right, and welcome back. We've got Mark Coglianese, the defensive coordinator, is here. Rory Steinbach, linebacker, and DB Kyle Callahan. We'll be joined by other players throughout the course of the show here. But, Coach, is it a great effort like that? Is there concern now trying to keep that, maintain that level of performance? I mean, you just played number one, the hype going into it, all the emotion that came through in that game all the way through until the final seconds go off, and now I imagine it's probably difficult to get to that level of emotion when you're playing the rest of the games here until you get to the postseason, maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern for us. But we talked about it the next day during films that we can't have any letdowns. We're finally in a position to win the Catholic Conference, the Blue Conference. We haven't won that yet. Other years we've won the White Division. So this is a big goal for us, and now we're in the driver's seat, and it's something we definitely don't want to let slip away.
Roy, I was wondering about something. You guys had a short week, and that might have hurt you a little bit because you had a game on Sunday against Fenwick. But on the other hand, Fenwick has a running attack. I don't know if you call it an option, but it's kind of a tricky, fast-moving offense, and it almost in some ways got you guys ready maybe to play Mount Carmel because you faced a real good running team, the game before?
Yeah, Fenwick runs a wing T offense, and that's basically sort of like Mount Carmel's offense. It's the same kind of option reads, so that kind of helped us out going into all week into Fenwick learning options, so that helped us going into Mount Carmel week going into options. So we just had to touch up on some things, on different formations that Mount Carmel runs, but basically the reads were the same for, linebackers, drops, and guys like that, so that helped us out a lot.
I know Fenwick extended you guys too because they took it right down to the very end of the game, had the ball driving, and you stopped them. Who got the interception? Was it Kyle? What a coincidence. I didn't even know that. We got the interception and stopped Fenwick in that game. Talk a little bit about Fenwick's game and also about Mount Carmel's passing attack, what you guys did to stop them because they like to go vertical with Goffer and Enrique Cook, and they've won a lot of teams that way. What did you guys do to stop their passing attack?
Well, basically, we just want to stay back. We were pretty much giving them short passes. We knew they were with the long ball, so as long as we didn't let up that, we're good to go.
You got a nickname for this defense yet? Gangrene, anything like that?
Team Gangrene.
No,
Nobody
we
come
don't.
up with it?
No, we did not have a nickname for
Need to
that
work
at
on
all.
that a little bit.
Yeah, maybe
What-
next time around.
What was the reaction in school when you went back, classes resumed, and you got back to school, and having finally knocked off Mount Carmel?
Oh, everyone was pumped. They were cheering for us. I mean, it was just a good feeling overall throughout the school.
I got to think, any of you guys can speak to this, I got to think beating Mount Carmel has to be a huge lift confidence-wise, too, because just in case you guys meet them in the state playoffs, and you've met them a couple times in the playoffs now and had trouble with them, knowing that you can beat them, it's got to be a big difference in your mind, I would think.
Yeah, I think that definitely does help. I was really looking forward to beating Mount Carmel during the season, so we don't got those jitters and the playoffs. Guys thinking they're unbeatable. I don't want that kind of vibe on the football field when we play Mount Carmel if we do in the playoffs. So I thought it was really good that we got it away in the middle of the season, so that that wouldn't be affecting the football play in the playoffs.
You guys concerned at all? I mean, did you even talk it amongst yourselves, the seniors maybe especially, that maybe too much of the reaction would be, boy, this made our season? When at Providence, making a season is winning a state championship, not winning a game in the middle of the season, even if it is the number one team of Mount Carmel.
Yeah, well, as seniors, we've been, basically one of my whole points of going to Providence is get one of those state rings. So, that's a lot, a lot of guys on the football team, that's their same dreams too. So, beating Mount Carmel, yeah, it was a great thing, but we're all looking forward to, the game ahead of us the next week, and then just keep on looking forward to, finally then, when it comes down to state, then win the state ring. So.
All right, let me take a break. We're going to come back. We'll get 3 other defensive players up here. We haven't forgot about the offense either. We're going to get the offense up here, too, throughout the course of the show. But we'll do one more segment with a couple, 3 more defensive players. So we'll do that. We got more honor roll coming your way as well. We got Sacco's top 20 as well we'll go through. All right, here's our Subway Sacco's top 20. I got the question I'm sure these guys want to know. Let me explain this. Joliet Catholic was your number 1. Number 1 got beat by Mount Carmel, which became number 1. Providence beats Mount Carmel, in effect beating your 2 number 1s.
Where was Mount Carmel when they beat Joliet Catholic?
What were they?
2.
2.
So when 2 beats 1, where can they go?
Right. I got no problem with you making Mount Carmel number 1.
Right, okay.
I'm saying you just had Providence just beat the teams that you regarded as number 1, which beat the other number 1. Why isn't Providence number 1?
Providence was number 4, not number 2.
Right.
So if you beat number 4, if you're number 4...
4 beating 1 to me is better than 2 beating number 27 or whatever it is.
Wait a second. Mount Carmel beat Joliet Catholic. 2 beat 1. That's what I'm saying. That's why Mount Carmel jumped over Joliet
if
Catholic.
Naperville Central beats Mount Carmel, make Naperville Central number 1.
If they would have beat Mount Carmel, but Providence was number 4, right?
So in your mind, number 4 can never become number 1?
Well, it depends. It depends. I've seen both teams. I saw Naperville Central.
I'm sticking up for you guys here.
I saw Central the day before, and they looked awful good. They beat Naperville 35-0.
I think Central's a great team this year, but they didn't beat Mount Carmel.
Well, and I jumped them above Maine South. I'm getting a lot of flack from Maine South people. They think they should be number 2. They're unbeaten. It's a tough choice to make. But Central is also Class 8A, so it's a bigger class, and they've got a passing attack, which Mount Carmel didn't have. You guys didn't have a very good passing attack against you guys. Central's got a great passing attack. It gives them 2 dimensions. So
all right, let's go through the rest of the top 20 real quick here. You see...
Joliet Catholic's there because they lost to Mount Carmel, so they're still 5. Hubbard's moving up. Richards, everybody else moves up 1. Those are the top 10 right there. Prospect, number 10, the highest they've ever been ranked, I think, in their school history.
Carmel moving up there.
Carmel's moving way up.
Corsair fans.
They're going to give Joliet Catholic a great battle that last game of the season. They'll both be, I think, 8-0, figuring Carmel wins this week. Thornton dropped down after losing to Lincoln Way Central to 13.
Do you remember public league having this many quality teams, too? That legitimately have shots to maybe win some playoff games.
It's the first time they have. In Morgan Park, because they beat Dunbar, they jump into the top 20 this week.
All right, we got 3 other players from the defense here of Providence. Let's introduce you to them. Linebacker Matt Eggert is number 49. In the middle, Chris Markells, number 6, defensive lineman, and Derek Knapchick, a nose tackle, big man on the end there, number 75. Let's start with Matt here, because you can't see it here. He's got a boot he's wearing on a foot. You broke your foot in, what was it, game 2 of the season?
Week 2 of the season against Bolingbrook.
One of those big guys stepped on it, huh?
Yeah.
How big was the guy who stepped on it?
It was the 320-pounder.
6'8", about 330.
He was a big one.
Yes.
How difficult was it for you to have to watch a game like the Mount Carmel game on the sidelines and just itching to get out there?
It was rough. It was a bittersweet victory, though. Me not being able to play was the bitter part, but the sweetness was beating Mount Carmel.
What did your replacement, Marty Marino's been playing ever since you went down? What's he added to this defense, maybe, or what's he done to try and fill in for you?
He's done an exceptional job. I'm just like another coach out there, but my only goal is teaching Marty. I'm teaching Marty everything that I know to put myself in the game, but through Marty. He's done a great job.
How easy is he a coach there, Chris?
He's really good. I mean, he takes it off the practice field where he's had him over his house, watching film, doing reads, I mean, everything possibly imaginable. And he's been great. I mean, I really think he made a difference in the game. Because without him, I don't know if he could have did as good as he did.
It's interesting. Now, Derek, a lot of times Mount Carmel wins that battle along the line of scrimmage, and that's how they control their option runs so well because their blockers beat the other guys. What did you guys do, especially the front line, to defeat their front line, their offensive linemen?
Well, our D-line coach, Larry Lokank, who's very good, he helped us prepare this week by, you know, they're really good at getting to our backers, which open a lot of holes for the running backs. And so our main job was really to keep them off our backers so they would be free to make all the tackles.
What was it like, I mean, during even the off-season as you're preparing for this season? I'm sure it's a date you circled on your calendar. I mean, when you're in the weight room and you're working out and you're doing drills during the summer, are you always thinking Mount Carmel in the back of your mind?
Yeah, pretty much. Because, I mean, that's the only team we've really lost to in the past as far as we've been there. So, I mean, it was a really big win for us.
Now, mentally, is it something, too, that you guys have to go through? Going into that game, you've never beaten them. There's still that doubt. Now you've beaten them. Is it all gone, the doubt that you can beat them now?
Kinda. I mean, we were always confident about beating them. We knew that we could do it. It's just getting that last effort at the end that was always beating us.
What's your timetable, Matt, then for coming back as far as the broken foot? What's it look like? Will you be able to get back on the field at some point this season?
It's healing well. If everything goes as planned, I should be ready for week 1 of the playoffs. To hopefully add that special spark.
Now, Marty's playing so well, you're going to really get your starting spot back?
I'd hope so. I'd hope so.
I made a deal with Marty. But did you have to be careful at the end of that game? I know you wanted to run on the field and just start celebrating, but you got that foot. Did you think, I better be careful, or did you just forget about it and went out there and
I forgot all about it.
Did you? Yeah, I was thinking you could have hurt yourself out there. Derek could have fallen on you.
He could have, yeah.
And Derek, how big are you? Tell these guys. Tell the TV audience.
I'm about 6'4", 280.
That's a pretty big guy. If he would have fallen, you're back, you're back on the injury list again.
We talked about a little bit, Chris, with some of the other guys, but maybe just give us your feelings about trying to come down from a game like this, or just keeping the emotions in place after you finally knock off of Mount Carmel. You still got some work to do here in the regular season and before the postseason gets underway.
Right. I mean, our goal every year, first of all, is to be conference champs. And that's something that we haven't done in the Blue Division. I mean, this is my opinion, is the best division around so far. And that's our goal, is to beat them. If we can beat them, then it's like, they won it every year. So it's like, we just got to finish the job. And that's what we got these next 2 weeks, is just, beat these next 2 teams and, go on to playoffs.
Is it going to be a letdown to prepare for, who do you guys have this week, St. Lawrence?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a little bit of a letdown to prepare for St. Lawrence as opposed to, I mean, Rory told me you guys were practicing 3 hours a day last week against the option. You're just putting so much into it. Is it going to be different this week?
Oh, no, I don't think so, not at all, because, I mean, you got to take every team seriously. You can have an upset, you can have, anything can happen. We lost to we lost to Loyola last game of the season,
That's right.
and that gave us 2 losses right after we lost to Mount Carmel. I mean, you got to take every team, like a state championship game. Like Coach Sepp tells us, your most important game of the season is the next one, so that's how we're treating it.
Well, congrats on the big win. We're going to take a break. We're going to back. We will get some of the offensive guys up and keep those 300-pounders off the foot. And, hope you heal up quickly here. We'll get some of the offensive guys from Providence and meet that half of the ball club right after we come up. And some former high school stars. Maybe we've had on the show from time to time and what they're doing. Our Where Are They Now segment. Antoine Randall L. In Indiana, they were winless, went up to Wisconsin and just slaughtered them, 63-32. Antoine back at quarterback. Things a little bit better at Indiana now. Tommy Koutsos from Army and Academy.
That's the guy, that was your guy the whole
They
season.
got their first win. We've been talking so much about the defense, but let's meet some of the folks from the offense here on Providence. Normally high-flying offense. Mount Carmel, though tough. We got 10 points off them, as it turns out. 10 points was enough. Doug Turnick is the coach of the offense, offensive coordinator. Then the quarterback receiving combination of quarterback Mike Buddy and Bob Poplowski joining us as well. Mike there in the middle and Bobby down there on the end. Congratulations. Did you think 10 points going in would be enough to beat a team like Mount Carmel?
Well, we were hoping to, to score a little bit more, but it ended up working out with our defense. That 10 was enough.
You got the 10 points in the first half too, Coach, I think. At halftime, what did you guys go in the locker room and try and discuss as far as what can you do to expand that lead?
Well, we went into halftime working on, what was successful in the first half and trying to understand and see what their adjustments were going to be for us in the second half. And unfortunately, we battled kind of a field position game the whole second half, and so we worked on some stuff. We did run some stuff, but we tried to stay aggressive, not get too conservative. But the field position really had us buried kind of that second half.
Talk a little about the type of offense that you run this year with this group of Celtics players.
We try to match up a lot with personnels over the last couple of weeks, and we've opened up our passing game a little bit more than we have in the past. But our mainstay is still Matt in running the football with our great backs that we have, and we've put a lot of pressure on Buddy himself, making a lot of changes at the line, doing a lot more stuff than our quarterbacks have done in the past, and I think Mike's filling in that leadership role well.
I know, Mike, there was a lot of pressure on you Saturday because Mount Carmel seemed to say, okay, we're going to shut down Mintz, we're shutting down the running game. If you can beat us, go ahead and throw the ball. And you did. You did a good job, especially with Bobby. You caught him a couple of times. What did you see out there that opened up for your passing game?
Well, we knew that they've been really good at kind of containing our run in the past couple of years, and knew that we would probably have to go to passing, and very confident with our offensive line, so there's nothing really to be nervous about and sacks or whatnot, so you just kind of We have great receivers, and they just kind of, went in there and did their job. So did the line. Only had one sack maybe. And
I was just saying, did you get a lot of pressure from Mount Carmel or not? Because normally there's 3-4 sacks, there's a lot of hurries. These guys are all over you.
well, usually Mount Carmel, surprisingly, they didn't blitz as much as I expected them to be.
Okay.
And when they did, our line did a great job of picking them up. And just my job was really easy, kind of. I just had to sit back there and make the easy reads and get it out to any one of our receivers can catch the ball.
Well, watching some of the highlights you put together there, and it looks like a lot of the passes were going Bobby's way, as they seem to have been doing. You seem to have a nice little combination going with him, don't you?
Definitely. I love the way he throws. It's great. We connect very good. I'm more to it.
You guys go back a ways with each other, or do you kind of hooked up here in high school as quarterback receiver, or did you known each other for a while, or what?
Well, we played each other in back in like 8th grade and 7th grade. It's always been a rivalry. I knew him coming into freshman year, but ever since freshman year, it's been me and him till now.
Do you get to a point, too, with your quarterback, and maybe it's that way with Mike now, that, a game like that, you line up and maybe just give him a look on the line of scrimmage, or you can see something in his eyes, you see each other, and you just kind of know which way you're going to run, or he'll know where to deliver the ball?
Yeah, that's something we work on in practice. We have to be on the same page. We have to know everything. If the defense is something we both have to know, it's not just, we got to know. We got to connect like that. It takes a lot of time, but got to get done.
So before you guys were on the same team, when you guys were playing against each other, what did you think about him back then?
Well, actually, he was a receiver, but...
He was a receiver, huh?
Yes, he was.
What did you play?
I was a receiver also,
Okay.
so I guess he got scared coming into freshman year. No, but, I always knew him. I knew he was a great athlete. But coming in freshman year, really did a great job at quarterback, so guess kept him there.
Well, we saw one of those hits you took along the sideline. You made some nice catches, but Mount Carmel makes you pay for it when you go over the middle.
That's fine. Catching the ball and taking a hit is great as long as you catch it. The hit's fine. Just gotta catch it.
Mike, do you realize how important you are in this offense as far as balancing off the rushing attack? Because more teams probably than not are going to try and stop your running game first and stay throw the ball. Do you realize that kind of pressure that it puts on you?
It really doesn't put as much pressure as you think, because most teams like to build up and...
And don't forget, Sacco is on the score every Friday at 2:30 with Mike North talking high school football. You want to listen to Pappy and Sacco, you can do that on Fridays. All right, we got some of the big guys that open up the holes here on offense for guys like Mike Howlett to run through. Mike's there on the end, running back, along with Brian Liddickson. Did I pronounce that right, Brian?
Yeah,
Liddickson.
yeah.
Brian Liddickson, offensive guard, and tackle Matt Rogers here as well. You pick the big guys to run right behind, huh?
Yeah.
They do it for you every time.
Get behind the big two and just open up the holes for me, and it's real easy.
You scored the one touchdown in the game.
Yeah.
The running game got it going. And tell us about that play and just about the running game against Mount Carmel.
That was at the end of the second quarter, I think there's only like 20 seconds left on the clock, and we wanted 6, We didn't want to settle for 3, so we called an outside zone play. And I just got up behind these two big guys, and there was just a huge seam for me to run, and it was pretty easy. Got in the end zone.
Talk about the play as far as what kind of blocking you guys did on that play to get him into the end zone.
It was kind of like an outside sweep, like a zone play, where we just kind of sprint outside, and we just kind of got to read who's out there, and then we block, pretty much whoever we feel is going to be our responsibility, and then he just tries to find the seam where it's at, hits it, and we hit it well, and we scored right on it.
Did you guys, Matt, did you realize that it might be the only touchdown you guys would score at that point, or was it going to be?
Oh, no, we definitely thought we were going to put up some more points in the second half, but we definitely wanted to put that one in right before half, get a little momentum going into the second half.
Was that is that the most physical team you'll face maybe in the course of a season? How physical a game was it in the trenches?
No, they were a lot quicker team than like maybe Mount Carmel teams of the past with their big D linemen. They try to stay low and try to stuff up the holes real well. Their linebackers were like real physical, but their D linemen were real quick, trying to make reads off us.
Any trash talking in the middle there, Brian? You guys get it going with them or what?
Yeah, it was a little, it's always it's fun to block, in the trenches, like you said. So it's a rough game down there.
On the touchdown that he scored, were you standing on the play? You made your block and you see him getting in, or what was your
Well, I didn't really see him get in because he ran right behind me. I was blocking the guy, but then when I seen him actually dive in, then we all started celebrating from there.
What's it going to be like this week now, Matt, as far as...
Oh, yeah, well, we got another tough game probably ahead of us. St. Lawrence they're in the Catholic League, so they got to be a tough school. We're definitely coming out trying to practice as hard as we did last week, and definitely trying to keep our 8-0, trying to go 8-0, and we're working for a higher seed in the playoffs now.
True.
So we should be good going into next week.
Let me get a quick break, and then we're going to bring all the offensive and
team.
defensive players up here. We'll let you do the honors. Let's see the shirts here they brought out here. Let's show one of these off as we head to break here. We got the old, here, let me hold it up there for you. Yeah, Providence football, there it is. We got those. Always add that to the Sacco collection. Take a break, then we'll get the offensive and defensive starters from the team that are out here as you take a look at some of the other top 10 in various. They are the starters, offense and defense for the Providence Celtics. Rory's back to take us through the defensive players. Here they are. Introduce us, Rory.
We have Kevin Parker. We have Marty Marino. We have Martin Ryder. We have Mike Stevens. We have Matt Gannon. We have coming up Chris Markells, Matt Eggert, Kyle Callahan, Derek Knapchuk, and Matt McDermott.
All right, and then we'll let Matt Rogers will take us through the rest of the group there in the corner there. Start us off with, well, Mike's down there in the corner.
Running back Mike Howlett. We got our wide receiver Pep again. QB Mike Buddy. Our fullback Jimmy Berthold. There's our ball boy Mark Coglianese.
Bob.
There's Bubba, our tight end. Here comes our left side of our line, left guard Tom Crivo, center Sean Doyle. There's a receiver Matt Gross. And left tackle Joe Cirillo.
Did we get everybody? Did we get Joe in there at the end? Got them all in there. These are your players from Providence, offense and defense, off the big win over #1 ranked Mount Carmel. They can people want to watch you in action. The next game's what, Saturday?
Yes.
Against St.
Oh,
Lawrence.
no, it's Friday.
night in
It's
St.
our
Lawrence.
homecoming against St. Lawrence.
Homecoming game at Providence against St. Lawrence. If you want to get a chance to watch these guys in action, you will be at the Hinsdale Central, Hinsdale South game. We'll be there as well for Friday Night Fever. Then Saturday,
Buffalo
Grove and Prospect. And again, you get a chance. Log on to chicagosports.com, and you'll have a chance to vote for the Friday Night Fever Player of the Week. And Rory is one of the candidates for that. So may the best guy wins the most votes, may him win. Friday Night Fever. Don't forget that. Also, Friday night, 11 o'clock. Congrats, guys, on the big win against Mount Carmel. Best of luck to you for the rest of the season. Say goodnight, guys.
No.
Thank you.
Really hadn't seen that spread offense. RV tried to do it a little bit, but this was really a whole different animal, wasn't it?
This is the old Lonesome Polecat, Tiger Ellison, and that was the start of the run and shoot, really. And Dan Darlington, his football historian he is, pulled one out and almost got us, but our kids came through and made plays when they had to.
Well, the tradition never graduates, as they say, and 10 championships has got to feel real good.
It feels great, and I'm going to go celebrate with my kids right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations. Dan Sharp, the victorious head coach of Joliet Catholic, their 10th championship in 12 state final appearances. Tom?
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. Joliet Catholic now 41-1 over the last 3 years. Back with more as we're between games. We'll crown a champion. We'll take this network break on the IHSA TV network.
This is my country. These are my people. This is the world I understand.
It's not just talking about service. It's really knowing the people we serve.
I know them like the back of my own hand.
Country Insurance and Financial Services. Real people, real answers, real quick.
Those must have been some cookies you left Santa.
I didn't leave them cookies. I left them cheese.
Ah, the power of cheese.
Nice, huh? Excellent.
And welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Champaign as the celebration continues for Joliet Catholic as they're getting ready for the second place trophy presentation to a real gutsy ball club, the Redskins of Morris, coming off the only losing season in Dan Darlington's history, and they take home a prize trophy. Not the one they wanted.
Well, it's not the one they wanted, but they played a heck of a football game. They had a great season, and they just came up to a real juggernaut in the Joliet Catholic Hilltoppers.
Eric Strait playing his last game as a Redskin. Look at that highly decorated helmet that he carries off. A proud, rich tradition that writes another storied chapter there at Morris High School on Route 47. There's Dan Sharp winning a state championship, and Dan Darlington comes over to congratulate him.
You know, how about that? That's high school sportsmanship at its finest right there. Two teams in a dogfight, and then when it's all over, you know, they both realize that they were in one heck of a game.
Well, Josh Tischer used to be one of his ball boys at Manuka.
That's unbelievable.
How about that? So there was obviously something special there in that meeting, Josh Tischer and Dan Sharp. And there is the victorious Hilltoppers of Joliet Catholic, a 10th state championship. You can see them. J.R. Zwerzinski, look how he just without a helmet stands head and shoulders above his other teammates.
I hope that platform's reinforced. There's a lot of beef up on that stand right now.
J.R. being recruited by Penn State as a linebacker. Illinois is recruiting him as a running back. Northwestern wants to build an offense around him. He is a highly prized recruit, but that's not what he's thinking of right at this very moment. So the celebration continuing here at down on the field.
There's Gruber, who's had a...
You know, you wonder for Joliet Catholic, and I suppose the smiles tells you the answer. I guess it never gets old.
Well, it doesn't, because, you know, you talk about tradition, but you have to realize their tradition is something that the school name has. These kids were never involved in those earlier state championships, maybe last year, but certainly not 5, 6, 7 years ago. They're just living off of that tradition and then creating their own legendary situation.
And the 10th state championship trophy is heading back to Joliet. The tradition began when Gordy Gillespie's team collected 4 consecutive state championships when this playoff series all began back in 1974.
Well, Dan Sharp is on his way to creating his own history at Joliet Catholic with his 3rd consecutive state championship. That's a great scene. I just hope that all of those kids have somebody at home that's been taping this so they can show it to their grandkids and their children years from now.
Well, that's something about winning a state championship. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a state champion in a different sport in the stadium, in track back in 1968. And it's something you'll never, ever forget, no matter how many times you've won one, even like at Joliet Catholic.
Well, we talked to the kids about it. You know, sometimes you'll forget your history teacher and your math teacher, and you'll have memories that you think are great, but these are things that'll last forever. When you have that reunion 20 years from now, that touchdown run that you made or that kick is, you know, is always 20 yards longer. That run is about 50 yards longer as each year grows.
Of course, we know about that big game in January that never seems to live up to the billing. Not so with this 5A game today, because those of us who've been following football all these years in Illinois, when you saw that Joliet Catholic and Morris run a collision course, you knew that you were really in store for a great game. Let's go down to the field now, and Kurt, and he's going to visit with one of the big stars from Joliet Catholic.
All right, Tom, yeah, J.R. Zwerzinski with us. 3 state championships that you've been a part of. Is this one perhaps the sweetest because it came down to the final seconds?
Definitely would say it was the sweetest. I'm a senior now, and it just makes it, you know, a lot better that I finally, you know, go out with the win.
How satisfying is it to be a part? I mean, you guys had the bullseye on your chest every time you take the field. Everybody wants to beat Joliet Catholic. They threw everything but the kitchen sink at you tonight, and you still came through with a victory.
Yeah, you know, we had good halftime adjustments that really helped us. That's really what won the game for us, I think.
I know you're thinking about college. Is this helping your decision at all, winning a state championship at this place?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Go celebrate with your team.
All right, thank you.
All right, J.R. Zwerzinski. As we mentioned, 3 state championship. The guy has 7 school records. He's done about everything, and now he's got 3 gold medals around his neck to prove that he is a part of this state championship tradition at Joliet Catholic. Tom?
Indeed, Kurt, 3 gold medals, and he retires, or ends his career, I should say, at Joliet Catholic as that school's all-time leading rusher. He surpassed Mike Allstott, now, of course, playing in the NFL with Tampa Bay earlier this year. Coming up, we'll have more. Coming up, an exciting battle for the 6A championship. But first, we'll hear from your local stations on the IHSA TV network.
This week on Small Talk for Parents, we'll explore a high-touch, high-response style of parenting that, according to Dr. William Sears, creates a strong emotional bond between infant and parents. We'll also have the latest on breastfeeding and achieving balance in our busy lives. Plus, a look at a unique service that helps new moms ease the transition into...
Yes, Your Honor. Given what you have just heard, we would like to recommend full custody, not merely visitation, to Nancy Chappell.
What? No way he can do that. Just don't worry about it. Can't do it. Cannot do that. I don't have no right.
This child has had prolonged diaper rash. This child has been hit. And this mother has admitted she shows open affection for Miss Fergus. Due to these and other considerations, given the living arrangement between these two women, I rule in favor of Nancy Chaffel. This court grants full custody of Zachary Lee Kinchlow to his grandmother, Nancy Chaffel.
7-20 as they rack up another state championship, and in a ball game that, you know, when you look at the way Joliet Catholic's offense, when they started out the day, the first time that JR touches the football, he rambles, and you thought, the first thought obviously in Morris's fans' minds was, oh no, here we go again. And the game was anything but, because they went up to a 14-0 lead. And give Morris a lot of credit the way they made a heck of a game out of it.
Well, definitely. That's a scare, the first play of the game, and they score. But, you know, Morris's character over the years has been such that they're not intimidated by other teams. They've been in big games before. That's their history. That's their tradition. Dan Darlington has been here 5 other times, so he knows what it takes. They showed poise. They showed great character. They came back. Joliet Catholic actually had to go to a couple trick plays to score.
As we take a look, I believe, at the stats, and we see that in total yardage, look how close they were. 308 yards to 294. Time of possession, Morris, you wouldn't have thought that with the way the game started.
But it turned out that Joliet Catholic had that quick strike opportunity, so they didn't run a lot of time off the clock when they scored.
We said before the game, Joliet, run, run, run. They did. We said Morris, keep them off balance, show some balance. They did as well. Look at the passing and rushing yards.
Well, you know, if you took the scoreboard away and just looked at those stats, you would say Morris won the football game. I think from top to bottom, because the time of possession is certainly because of the balance of the offense.
So 27-20, Joliet Catholic chalks up the state championship. They finished the season with a record of 13-1. Morris, boy, Dan Darlington has brought a undefeated team into the championship game 4 previous times, and it's tough when that first loss of the year comes when all the marbles are on the line.
Well, you know, when you tell kids that tomorrow nobody's going to be playing. Both teams are not going to be playing football tomorrow. One will be a winner, and one will not be a winner. And as far as I'm concerned, Morris has had a great season. The toughest thing is for Dan Darlington to be able to talk these kids into believing that they really are not a loser from going 13-1. You know, good night's sleep, and tomorrow they'll wake up and life goes on.
And indeed, and hopefully it'll set the table for what should be an action-packed day. We've got a dynamite game coming up in 6A here between Providence and Richards, 2 undefeated teams. Coming up then tonight at 4:30, we'll have the battle, of course, for Class 7A between Prospect of Mount Prospect and Edwardsville, who had knocked off Chicago teams all along the way to get here to the state finals. And then, of course, tonight, your Downers Grove South team is going to play, and you'll be on the sidelines.
I'll be on the sidelines. I've been up here in the booth for 20 years for 20 championship games. It's the first time in my 30-year coaching career that I'm going to be on the sideline as a coach. I'm excited. I'm excited to be in the booth, and I'm going to be more excited to be down on the field tonight.
So this, of course, is the first year of 8 classes, and there are a lot of people that perhaps were a little vocal about going to 8 classes, maybe diluting the playoffs. And I think so far this weekend has proven with the double overtime win last night in the battle between Mount Carmel and Driscoll. Some of the other comeback wins in the lower classes. So it's been a great Friday. It's been a great Saturday thus far. And now to take you between games here between 5A and 6A, let's go down to Kurt on the sidelines.
All right, thank you, Tom. In between games here, what a terrific Class 5A state championship that game was, and we're expecting a great Class 6A championship game between Providence and Richards as well. But we want to introduce you to a couple of people who are going to be giving a check presentation here in a few minutes. Anthony Holman, who's from the IHSA office. Anthony, I know you've got a check here. It's a partnership between the IHSA and Kraft and the Chicago Bears, all involved in this, and maybe you can kind of give us a thumbnail sketch of the background of this.
Yeah, the Kraft and the Bears came to us and wanted to present a sweepstakes for some schools that participated in the Kraft UPCs for Cash. It was kind of a redemption program for our schools. And of those participants, we had 2 grand prize winners, Columbia High School and Chicago Leo, who are going to receive $5,000 checks today from the sweepstakes presented by the Kraft Foods and Chicago Bears.
I think in this day and age, a $5,000 check is never going to be turned away from any school, right?
Probably not. I'm sure they're going to have plenty of things to do with it.
All right, let's bring those recipients in here. If you would, from Leo High School, we have Ed Adams, and then from Columbia High School, we have Sarah Thurwalker. Ed is the athletic director. Sarah is the associate principal at those respective schools. $5,000. What is Leo going to do with $5,000?
I think we're going to purchase some equipment, track equipment, and some new uniforms for our athletic teams.
It's encouraging when you can get a check like that of that size, right? It's a little payday that comes a little early, Christmas early. Huh?
Absolutely correct. We're very thankful to Kraft and the Chicago Bears and IHSA for presenting us this award today.
Okay, and Sarah, at Columbia, what do you think the $5,000 check will go to?
We're going to build an outdoor eating facility for our students.
Outdoor eating facility. I think everybody can take advantage of that, right?
Yes, definitely.
Some of the football players find that out. They're going to be really wearing that out.
Yes, and we can serve Kraft foods there, too.
Oh, that's, yeah, well, we got to get that in since Kraft and the Bears are involved in that. So you can see that the dollars are going to work here in both athletics and with the student body at both Leo and at Columbia. So congratulations on that. I'm sure you'll put the money to good use, and I'm sure that you respect the Bears and Kraft and the IHSA for their participation, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Anthony, very much. Again, we are between games. 5A champion Joliet Catholic is already in the books. The 6A championship is coming up. Stay tuned. We've got more coming up after this local break.
Prince and predators, poisoners and posers are feeding and frolicking and flirting and flying on islands and in deserts, amidst the forests and beneath the sea. Join us when nature reveals her best-kept secrets on World of Wildlife.
Wednesday night on TV 20.
When I need inspiration, I first go to the landscape. It gets my head going. Art and environment, they support each other. I need that. And if I can't find it, I check out PBS.
State championship 5A game is in the books. Joliet Catholic with a 27-20 victory over Morris. 6A, 7A, and 8A championships yet to come. We are between sessions here, between games, between the 5A and 6A championship. Sarah Seed from the Champaign County Convention and Visitors Bureau is with us. This is a gigantic weekend around these parts, is it not?
It's gigantic. It's an awesome weekend with the 8-class system. It's a historic weekend if you think about it. So we've got great football both days. We've been very pleased with the attendance. Attendance figures yesterday were just highest that we've had it since we've hosted it, so we've been real happy.
I guess what was your reaction when you found out that the IHSA was going to expand from 6 to 8 classes? You knew you were going to have 2 more championship games. You knew you were going to have 4 more teams coming. I'm sure that probably excites the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, it's more people, obviously. You know, more kids getting a chance to be a state champ, more kids getting a chance to march on the field as the band or the cheerleaders, their support staff, and it just, I think it enhances everyone. You know, it gives them a chance to really excel and get down here to the University of Illinois, see what the U of I is like, just as a student, not just as a student athlete, but as a student. Obviously, economically, it's a huge boost for us. We're honored to have it. The University of Illinois does a great job of helping us with it, but from a Convention and Visitors Bureau standpoint, it's key for us. This is a great enhancement event to have.
And certainly the U of I has to juggle some of its events. As we mentioned, on Thanksgiving Day, they held a football game here, the Illini and Northwestern, just so this weekend would be open. So obviously the people here at the university have opened their doors to make sure that this happens.
Well, they have, and I'm very grateful to that, because they could have very easily have said no. You know, Illinois played for a Big Ten championship on Thursday, and for them to have that happen and to win, and then to have the kids come and play on this stadium is phenomenal. But for them to work with us on that has been huge, as well as Northwestern, for them to agree as well, because they both had to agree for that to happen.
Certainly it's a big day today. There's a presentation ongoing right now with the Coaches Hall of Fame, and we're going to hear from them shortly. But not only is the football state championship here, but you have the wrestling state championship. There's the relationship between Champaign and the IHSA goes way back.
It does. It goes way back, all the way back to basketball. And with the state wrestling tournament we've had here over 27 years, that's mid-February, and we want to do a first-class job with that as well. I mean, IHSA and high school sports, it's just a class act event, and that's why we take it so seriously, and at the same time make it fun for the kids, because you see these kids here, you see them either in tears of joy or just disappointed to death, but nonetheless they know that they've made it to the state, and they've done their best. They've made it to their ultimate goal, and that's what we keep in mind when we plan it.
I guess how much planning is the next question. Is how much planning goes involved in this? I'm guessing once this one wraps up, you're next week already thinking about next year's, especially with 8 classes and hotels and restaurants and all that's involved in carrying off something like this.
Well, yes, that's true. We have to look at the Big Ten schedule, too. Obviously, with the Bears coming in town, that plays a whole new factor with this. But right away, we'll start working on wrestling to that point. But we'll go over a wrap-up meeting next week for this tournament, and then we'll start on wrestling. But we do have some extra things to think about next year. But that's just a great problem to have. So it just means more people in our community and more football right here.
Yeah, I guess that is my next question. Not only will you have the University of Illinois playing here next year, you're going to have the Chicago Bears playing here next year and the state championships. Wow, what a fall next year.
Well, it is. And if you think about it, we've got the Big Ten's best, we have the high school's best, and we have right now the NFL's best, the Bears. They're having a phenomenal season. So if you like football, if you want to see great football, this is the place to see it at. I mean, it's at the State University, and these kids, when they get off the bus, they're in awe. And I'm not just talking about the football players. I'm talking about the bands and the cheerleaders. To finally be here at Memorial Stadium, one kid yesterday ran right into the locker room, grabbed onto Kurt Kittner's locker, and he goes, "This is mine." And he wouldn't move. And he literally was so excited to get Kurt's locker. And that's what it's all about. And we're just happy to help them with that.
Now, can somebody from the Convention and Visitors Bureau actually have fun this weekend, or are you worrying about concessions and parking, and are you thinking about all the things that go on behind the scenes here?
We're having fun. Obviously, we got some things to think about, obviously, with the weather. We've got some security things to talk about and deal with, but we have great support staff from the police here, not only the University of Illinois, but the Champaign-Urbana Police, the county police, with the University of Illinois personnel, and then our support staff, my volunteer coordinator, Heidi Rosario, my COO, Emrioni, these people that help to make it happen, Sue Wedding, my director of marketing, and then all of our volunteers. It takes about 60 volunteers to put this on, plus our ambassadors. We drove to all 16 schools on Monday and drove with their school's colors on to greet them, and they were the first contact when they got here to Memorial Stadium. And then I called all 16 schools on Monday as well. So a lot of work goes into it, but a lot of pride goes into it as well.
Well, we're having a great weekend, so nice job with this, Sarah, and I know that you're going to begin work on that wrestling tournament as soon as this one's done.
Thanks for having us, and happy Thanksgiving to my brother and his family in Chicago. Happy Thanksgiving.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming by and giving us a chat. We want to hear what the coaches are talking about in this post-game of an exciting 5A state championship game, so let's go to that press conference right now. Joliet Catholic a winner over Morris in the 5A title game.
Is Chris Gruber. 90 is it Miles? Mike Colo, and number 68 Steve Douglas. Again, because of the live TV, this is different this year. We'll ask you that after you ask a question, they've asked me to repeat it into the mic, and we'll let the players or coach answer. So, Coach Sharp, we'll start with your general comments.
Well, first of all, my hat's off to Morris High School. Came out with the old lonesome polecat from 1958 or something. Dan, I know, was a great